I am all for people asking for raises. So let me start with that. I don't have a problem with the WNBA players asking for a raise. The WNBA is on a hot streak. I don't care about the previous 24, 25 years. As an investment, it's starting to pay off. And so this week they wore T-shirts saying, making a statement, you better pay us. But instead of just leaving it at that, Kelsey Plum for LA had to take a dig at Caitlin Clark.
Colin Cowherd just obliterated Kelsey Plum on national television, and it wasn't even close.
Colin Cowherd, I wonder if there was more solidarity behind Caitlin Clark, if there was more a unified front backing Caitlin Clark instead of blocking Caitlin Clark, I assume the owners would respect that. I assume the owners wouldn't be looking at the players like and just laughing when they get in the negotiation room.
While Caitlin Clark is rewriting the rules of women's basketball and saving the WNBA's future, Plum took a cheap shot at the one person responsible for the league's massive growth.
I just think it just wasn't a smart thing for Kelsey Plum to have said. I fully believe she's just joking. I don't think there's any malice in this. Not only do I not think, I'm almost certain there's no malice in this. I think it's just a really bad joke. Well, not even a really bad joke, a joke that comes off the wrong way.
But Cowherd wasn't having it, and what he said about jealousy, privilege, and the golden goose will leave you stunned. So let's break it all down. It started with a protest. WNBA players wore T-shirts demanding better pay and fair treatment. A fair cause, no doubt. But during this moment of unity, Kelsey Plum decided to go one step further. She singled out Clark's absence from the meeting, saying, quote, "0 members of Team Clark were present."
Well, it was a very powerful moment. We didn't, at least as players, we didn't know that was going to happen. So I think it was kind of like a genuine surprise. But the T-shirt, just united front, was determined this morning that we had a meeting for. And, not to tattletale, but 0 members of Team Clark were very present for that.
Oh boy.
Colin Cowherd immediately jumped on the mic. His response, "Why are you taking shots at the golden goose?" That's the exact phrase he used, golden goose.
But why do you take a shot at the golden goose, Caitlin Clark? You guys were flying before she arrived on one of those airlines that made you pay for a cup of water. One of those airlines that is the planes are the color of a highlighter. Now you're flying private. Keep your issues to yourself. All right? You went from a Motel 6 in a sketchy part of town to a 4 Seasons in the shopping district. Stop talking.
Because like it or not, Caitlin Clark is the one putting money in everyone's pockets. And according to Cowherd, Plum and others are showing a complete lack of gratitude. Cowherd's analogy was brutal. He said WNBA players used to stay in Motel 6. Now they're living it up at the 4 Seasons, and it's all thanks to one player. Let's not forget, just a couple of seasons ago, these athletes were flying budget airlines that made them pay for water. Now, they're on private jets.
All right. What does that mean? Caitlin Clark has created the league. Caitlin can argue for more money, but you can't. Y'all been in the league all this time, and the revenue generation has come because Caitlin Clark primarily. That you can't make more. You can't make more money if you're not producing product. And then if you made money this year, ma'am, you've been losing. You owe the NBA back. Y'all can just lose and not pay anything back to the NBA? Like, to be honest, the first 10 years of y'all profitability need to go back to the NBA. You don't just get to say, I've been wasting y'all money for 20 years and now I'm finally made a profitable year because of one player. She get hurt, ain't nobody watching it no more.
So how exactly did this happen? Cowherd didn't just speculate, he brought the receipts. A 500% increase in merchandise sales, a 40% spike in league-wide attendance. The Indiana Fever, once a complete financial disaster, now has a waiting list for season tickets.
Listen, NBA players make 50% of revenues. WNBA players make 9%. And now the merch sales are up 500% and attendance is up, 40%. So they're going to get a raise. There's no question. And I don't really care that the previous 25 years, they didn't make a lot of money or lost money. I don't care. They're in the middle of a negotiation and they're on a heater.
And yet, Caitlin Clark finished 9th in player all-star voting. 9th. Cowherd couldn't believe it. He said the league's biggest draw, the person responsible for packed arenas and record-breaking merchandise sales, got ranked 9th by the same players benefiting from her success.
Caitlin Clark finished 9th in player voting. In fact, she finished behind one of her own teammates in player voting for the All-Star game. The pettiness has no bounds. But it's interesting, for years, the WNBA players were pointing fingers. They were saying people are sexist, the media is sexist, we're not being promoted, we're underappreciated. And then they get the golden goose and they don't like what it looks like. Iowa girl, Indiana girl. Well, who knows, and I've said this for years, when the wave hits, ride it. You don't know what it looks like. Don't fight it. So, there's obviously a racial component here. The WNBA players, they just don't like what the wave looks like. They wanted to fly private. They wanted to be more popular. They wanted a better deal in the CBA, which they'll get. They wanted sold-out arenas. They got it.
And he's right. That kind of ranking isn't about stats. It's about politics. It's about resentment. Cowherd called it out for what it is: petty jealousy. He compared Caitlin Clark's situation to other generational stars. When LeBron James entered the NBA, veterans didn't love the spotlight he got, but they respected his impact. When Tiger Woods took over golf, he changed everything, and the tour adjusted.
And this is what Tiger Woods did to the PGA Tour. Yes, Tiger made the most money, but he raised the purses in all tournaments and made a lot of people rich. That was the key. So this all-star rating is proving, despite losing 1 million viewers from last year, is that she has risen the entire league. This league is now a topic on all sports shows on all sports networks.
But in the WNBA, some players are still clinging to the past. Cowherd put it bluntly: you didn't like flying budget, she got you private. You're in luxury now. Stop complaining.
One of those airlines that is the planes are the color of a highlighter. Now you're flying private. Okay, if you're in a band and you're staying at the Motel 6 and you add a band member and now you're at the Ritz-Carlton, keep your issues to yourself. All right? You went from a Motel 6 in a sketchy part of town to a Four Seasons in the shopping district. Stop talking.
And then he dropped the hammer, the Michael Jordan comparison. Just like MJ, Caitlin Clark is being physically targeted on the court. Just like MJ, she's dominating anyway. Remember the infamous Jordan rules used by the Detroit Pistons? The whole strategy was to beat him down, literally.
Mac, the WNBA has arrived. Caitlin Clark's gotten really good really fast. It's like the end of year 1 for Michael Jordan or year 3 for Michael Jordan. She's gotten really good really fast. And you got to put a body on her or you got to double team her or she's going to embarrass you. She's shooting 33-footers. And what happened last night's a byproduct of that. This is what happened to MJ. She's number 1 and 2 in every offensive stat. She's hitting more threes this season than Steph Curry did in his first MVP season, and her game embarrasses you.
Well now, Clark is going through the same thing. She's being fouled hard, she's getting shoved, hit, and targeted in every game. And like MJ, she's fighting through it and coming back stronger. Cowherd even pointed out that the Indiana Fever saw this coming. That's why they traded for Sophie Cunningham, one of the toughest players in the league.
And by the way, this league, they knew what they were getting into, right? Like, and I'll get to this in a second, but they brought Sophie Cunningham over in a trade for a reason. She's the youngest black belt in the state of Missouri's history, 6 years old. They brought her over to protect Caitlin Clark because they saw this puppy coming. The league doesn't quite know what to do, but the Fever did. And so, again, you got to put a body on her. You got to get physical. If you go look at the history of basketball, high school, college, WNBA, NBA, if there's an offensive player and they're humiliating you. Steph, Shaq, MJ, Caitlin. What do? You can't trap her. She'll dribble through it. You gotta put a body on her.
She's their version of Charles Oakley, the enforcer brought in to protect Jordan. The Fever knew they had a star and took steps to protect her. But the biggest takeaway from Cowherd's rant wasn't about fouls or stats. It was about vision. He said, "This is the worst Caitlin Clark will ever be." Think about that. She's already rewriting record books. She's already drawing millions of viewers. And she's just getting started.
The story was, even without Caitlin Clark, it was the second highest rated WNBA All-Star game ever, and that is a huge point of distinction. Two things are clear. If Caitlin Clark plays in the All-Star game, it will set records. But now, because of her popularity, even if she doesn't, it will break records and be the second highest ever. Only beaten by the time she played in it. And that matters.
Cowherd warned that if veteran players don't get on board now, they'll be left behind. Players like Lexi Hull, Aaliyah Boston, and Kelsey Mitchell understand what's happening. They're riding the wave, not fighting it. And make no mistake, this is a wave, the kind that changes leagues forever. Cowherd said the WNBA is finally turning the financial corner it's been chasing for decades, and it's because of one player, Caitlin Clark. He even drew a parallel to the UFC. It took Conor McGregor to push the UFC into mainstream American sports. Caitlin Clark is doing the same thing for the WNBA. And here's where Cowherd made his boldest prediction. The WNBA's future runs through Caitlin Clark. Whether some players like it or not, the numbers don't lie. TV deals, sponsorship money, sold-out games, jersey sales, fan engagement, it all revolves around Clark. So when veterans like Kelsey Plum throw shade at the only player making that success possible, Cowherd had one message: stop biting the hand that feeds you. He's not saying Clark is perfect. He's not saying other players don't deserve more money or recognition. But what he is saying, loud and clear, is this: you don't tear down the one person bringing value to everyone. You don't sabotage the golden goose. Because if Clark walks away, so does the spotlight, so does the money, so does the progress. Cowherd's rant wasn't just about defending Caitlin Clark. It was about exposing a toxic mindset that could cost the league everything it's finally starting to build. The jealousy, the petty digs, the resistance to change, all of it needs to stop. Because the future is here, and her name is Caitlin Clark. If you're still watching, drop Golden Goose in the comments to show you support the star who's carrying the league. And if you want more unfiltered breakdowns like this one, make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss a beat. We'll see you in the next one.
I don't think it's any secret that I'm not a fan of the Indiana Fever backroom staff. I'm not a fan of what they're trying to do to Caitlin Clark, and I fully believe they're trying to dim the flame of Caitlin, and they're trying to make her fit in to what the WNBA used to be, rather than fit out and be her.
Caitlin Clark was celebrating. She had just drilled a deep three. The crowd was on its feet. The Fever were up by 20. And then, out of nowhere, her own coach physically grabbed her mid-celebration.
This is how you treat your prized possession? This is how you treat your cash cow? This is how you treat your savior? This is how you treat the young woman responsible for elevating this unbelievably rancid turd?
It happened on live television. And the footage, it's now everywhere. Because this wasn't just an awkward moment. It was a moment that exposed everything wrong with how the Fever are treating the face of the league.
This clip is going super viral. This clip of one of the assistant coaches chasing Caitlin Clark down as she's riling up the crowd. And it seems like she's getting scolded, reprimanded, told, hey, all that hyping up, don't do that. Don't do it. Let's take a look here first. Now Now here we go. Body language doctor. Body language doctor is out and about. Caitlin Clark's like, what the hell is this? You know, I was just hyping up the crowd. What you coming up on me for? I was just going like this. Why are you pulling up on me? I'm just hyping up the crowd. You know, the crowd that's been dead because I haven't been on my game, and now I'm back on my game, and I'm hyping them up, and we're getting them into it, and it puts the opposing team on their back heel. You know, you guys aren't used to that. Oh, my bad. And what's coach doing? Caitlin, don't do that, Caitlin. What, you're gonna get a technical for hyping up the crowd during a dead ball? Please, I would love to see that.
Let's rewind. Clark hits a huge shot. The crowd goes crazy. She turns toward them, arms out, soaking it in. This is her moment, the kind she's been delivering since Iowa. And just when she leans into the celebration, assistant coach Karima Christmas Kelly rushes in, grabs her arm, and physically pulls her back.
We've all said this. So Caitlin Clark has been knocked on her ass. She's been knocked on her ass. She's been cheap shotted. She's been poked in the eye. Everything. They have beat the Connecticut Sun. This is a month ago nearly. The Connecticut Sun beat the crap out of her. Caitlin Clark then goes and hits a step back three on JC Sheldon. And she goes, the whole crowd's going nuts. And she comes, so it's not like it's a close game. They're up 20. She does not see the floor again. Caitlin Clark is there hyping up the crowd. She's there trying to hype up the crowd. Exactly what you want. Exactly what you want. You want to see this version of Caitlin. You want to see this player. And watch what happens here. So the coach just grabs her. Just grabs her out of nowhere. And I'm like, I don't think there's anything too malicious in that. I don't know if there's anything too malicious. We don't know what's said. But like, you can't just grab a player.
No warning, no words, just a jarring, visible yank like Clark broke some invisible rule. Clark doesn't lash out. She just turns around, stunned. Her face says it all. What just happened? And when the clip hit social media, fans erupted. The backlash was instant and loud.
I would love to see Caitlin Clark get a technical for hyping up the crowd during a dead ball. Not slapping the stanchion during a dead ball. Not talking to referees during a dead ball. Not showing up the opposing team during a dead ball, but hyping up the crowd. Her home crowd during a dead ball. Is this a coach saying, hey, Caitlin, this could be a case of you getting a technical, which even me saying that out loud is weird.
This is unacceptable. Would this ever happen to a male player? Why is the Fever trying so hard to control her?
Well, Casey, why are you acting so surprised? We've always known that the WNBA doesn't know how to treat their stars properly. I'm not talking about the WNBA and the egregious way they treat the Great White Hope. Not only does this dump not know how to create stars, the disrespect, the outright defiance, it is coming from the president of the Indiana Felines, which means this is coming from Caitlin Clark's own team.
And honestly, they're right to ask, because this wasn't an isolated incident. It's part of a pattern, one that's been building all season. Clark gets benched while heating up. She gets iced out by teammates who act like passing is a favor. She takes hard fouls with no whistle. And now, she's being physically stopped from celebrating her own success.
That is transpiring with the Indiana Fever, but I said this yesterday, there is definitely something going on within the locker room, the front office. Something is off, man. This is the third situation in one game we have had involving Caitlin Clark and the coaching staff and pretty much another player. We had the Natasha Howard situation where Caitlin Clark bent down to tie her shoe up because she knew Natasha Howard wasn't even going to pass her the damn ball.
That's not discipline. That's control. Let's talk big picture. Caitlin Clark isn't just a rookie. She's the most impactful player the league has ever seen. Before she arrived, the Indiana Fever were valued at $90 million. Today, $340 million.
Surpassed everybody in the amount of time that she has played in the WNBA. She fills up every arena in every town that she goes to. Teams have to go to bigger arenas so that they can try to profit off the Caitlin Clark train coming to town. She's from Iowa. Then she gets drafted to the Fever, and what she has done for this city and for this team is unbelievable. Obviously, last year at the beginning of the season, nobody wanted to believe. Okay?
They still don't.
There's a lot of people that still think there's a lot of other. She is the one. Okay? And it pisses off everybody whenever we say it. And then obviously it becomes a whole thing because we're a bunch of doofuses and things like that. But like, this is the golden goose. This is the one. This is the generational, multi-generational player. And we're incredibly lucky that she's in Indianapolis.
Merchandise sales are up 234%. Every arena she plays in is sold out. And somehow, her own franchise is treating her like a liability. Not a star, not a leader, not the reason they're even relevant. A liability. You'd think a team like the Fever would be building statues of her. Instead, they're handing her rule books, pulling her out of big moments, and grabbing her mid-celebration like she's a rookie who got too excited during warm-ups.
This is not a franchise that people are emotionally tied to. Before Caitlin Clark, this turd was lucky to draw 2,000 people a game. So I'm struggling to understand why you would butcher your cash cow. I'm struggling to understand why the Indiana Felines think they are the star. They are the draw.
Fans are starting to notice something that's been hard to say out loud. The Fever didn't just stumble into generational talent, they're actively wasting it. That grab, it wasn't just physical, it was symbolic. It showed us exactly what Caitlin's been facing all season.
And I'm telling you right now, that whole situation is crazy in itself. Ever since DeWanna Bonner been gone, they have simply turned this thing into the Natasha Howard team, bro. I mean, they're building whole schemes around her, using her as if she's the star of the team. Now, I said this yesterday. I'm all for the veteran players. But at the end of the day, did we all forget that this is Caitlin's team? Like, did y'all just throw that whole situation out the window? Number 1 draft pick, rookie of the year, breaking all the damn records like they're scratch-offs?
You want to know why she doesn't smile like she used to? Why the fire seems a little dimmer? Because every time she shows joy, someone tries to shut it down. They don't want Caitlin Clark, the phenomenon. They want Caitlin Clark, the good teammate. Quiet, controlled, conforming. But that's not who she is. And frankly, it's not who they drafted. This isn't about ego, it's about energy. Caitlin Clark was brought in to lead a cultural shift, to bring excitement, to bring fans, to make the WNBA fun again. And when she hypes up a crowd, she's doing exactly what the league needs her to do. But the Fever, they look like they'd rather she celebrate quietly in a back room with a clipboard. Let's be real, if any male assistant coach grabbed a player like that, it would be an instant suspension. There'd be statements, there'd be accountability. But with Clark, silence. And fans are sick of it. This is no longer just about a grab. This is about everything behind that grab. The micromanagement, the tension, the resistance to what Caitlin Clark represents. She's not playing identity politics. She's not dividing people. She's just hooping. And that alone is threatening to people who want to keep the league exactly the way it's been. The WNBA has never had someone like her. Not just in talent, in draw, in dollars, in impact. And if the Fever keeps trying to tame that, they're going to lose her. Not just metaphorically, literally, because sooner or later Clark is going to look around and ask herself, why stay? And if she leaves, she won't just take her talent. She'll take the spotlight, the ratings, and the fans who came to watch her. So let's call this what it is. The Fever aren't just mismanaging a star. They're running a masterclass in how to lose a superstar in record time. That coach grab, it was the clearest sign yet. If you think it crossed the line, hit like. If you're tired of watching Clark get disrespected, leave a comment. And don't forget to subscribe, because this isn't over. Not even close.